Yeah.
So Jonathan, I'll call you up for the Chatzi Kaddish, which is for the end. Okay? Shabbat Shalom. After some very, very heavy weeks and continuing heaviness, it's nice to head into Shabbat together. Hopefully this will be a Shabbat of some relief, some breathing, some lightness, some celebration, and even especially maybe at difficult times, touching base with the things that are most important to us and the things we care about, and gratitude for the blessings in our lives. It's my honor to begin tonight's service on page 5 with Shalom Aleichem. Now, we have some regulars here tonight, like Harvey, who will say, I know exactly, and of course, Mary and Art, who I know exactly what Rav Nadav's going to say to start off a beautiful Bar Mitzvah weekend with Shalom Aleichem. And I'd like to share, there's a Hasidic interpretation that I think about almost every time I chant it, which is that, as for those of you who know the 4 choruses or the 4 verses, they're mostly identical except for the beginning. And the beginning is Shalom Aleichem, hello in peace, or not really welcome, but shalom to you. Boachem l'shalom is the second one, which is come in peace. The third one is bless me in peace. And the third one is go in peace. And although the semi-literal explanation is that you're talking to angels, there's a Hasidic explanation that you're talking about family. That the Shalom Aleichem is 2 people falling in love. And I'm just going to go very fast through these. Shalom Aleichem is the shalom to you and a shalom back to you that creates a real completion, a shalem state, a shalom state that 2 people cultivate in their love and their connection, and then through covenant and marriage. And Boachem l'shalom is come in peace, then that state leads to a beckoning for souls to join that family. And so come in peace is to call out to the well of souls that God sends you a soul or another soul, a second soul. Barchuni l'shalom is the indication of the bar bat mitzvah weekend. So that's where we're at, which is when the child transitions to adult, then what you say to the child is not come in peace. What you say is, it's now your turn to bless me in peace. I've been trying to bless you with giving you an education, giving you love, giving you a home. So I've been blessing you. But now that you are now joining us on another level, and I'm sure it's already been happening, now you're blessing us. Like, we want to get your blessing. And that will continue in the life of, well, those who are grandparents and others. No, it continues. And then finally, Tzeitchem l'shalom is the kind of going off to live independently, whether it's at college or a different time. So we're at the third, when we hit the third verse, let's think a little bit especially about Jonathan. So please join me on the bottom of page 5. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Barchuni l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Tzeitchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We begin the Kabbalat Shabbat service with the Psalm of the Pilgrim's Arrival on page 11. It was commonly said through Jewish history when one arrived at Jerusalem through pilgrimage, and then the Kabbalists transitioned us to say it when we arrive at Shabbat. So that the idea being that as all pilgrims to this place together at this moment, some part of family, some part of community, some newt community, we're all kind of different pilgrims coming from different places, but we arrive together entering into Shabbat. So as we sing L'chon Ranana, I ask you, as the pilgrims would when saying this, drop your baggage, and whatever you're carrying from the week or whatever chores have not been finished leading up to this moment, whatever anxieties and cares you have, if you can put them down and enter together as a community into Shabbat, feeling free and unburdened. L'chon Ranana L'Adonai Nariha Litzor Yishenu Nikadma Fanav B'Todam Bizmirot Nariha Lo. Continue silently through the psalm. As we get to the final 5 lines on page 12, God interrupts the psalmist, the poet himself. God interrupts to say, don't be like those who complained, and through complaint chased away the divine presence. And so may we experience the Shabbat as God hopefully experienced the very first Shabbat, without seeing anything that needs to be changed. Let's have a few hours, maybe more than a few hours, where we experience the world as just so very, very precious and beautiful. Arba'im Shana Akut Bedor Ba'omar Amto Levavhem Vehem Lo Yadu Derachai Asher Nishpati V'Api Im Yavon El Menuchati. As the mystical psalms that continue 13 and forward with Shir L'Adonai, the whole world is full of a music that is coming from everything that is alive, that God hears as harmonious sound. But as the psalms go through 15 and forward, we see that we often don't hear what surrounds us as music because the clouds and thick darkness of injustice that prevent us from feeling our way toward the true kindness and harmony and purpose and order that God is calling us to, toward God's throne. So as we go through, we see on page 16 that there's an energy, there's a light that the righteous see, but maybe the rest of us only see the shade from that light. And we are kind of trying to search back like our ancestors toward the source. So on page 17, we can sing a new song. We can find our way to join in with creation and get past the injustice in the cloud, to be together at the throne. So on page 18, you pick up your shofar, your horn, your lyre, or your voice, and you sing and joy with others. And if it is a challenge, then on page 19 and 20, we try to think of the way our ancestors led us in a direction to doing so, even when it didn't come to us naturally or came to them naturally. And then on page 21, even during the storms of the world, there is a call of God coming from within, a call that beckons us toward it. May we proceed. Before we sing L'Chadodi on page 23, I'd like to share one of my favorite poems. You may have heard it before, and is especially deep to me because it's about a family with 3 children, which I come from myself. And it's from Yehuda Amichai. I have the Hebrew for those who are interested, but I'll read it in English tonight. Like a ship's captain who after a dinner party shows his guests the engine room in the bowels of the ship because the beautiful women requested it. And he takes them down the iron steps and opens doors with a clang and closes them. And they all stand marveling at all the shining and the spinning and the going up and down. In this way, I show my guests my children's bedrooms. I open a door and I close it quietly, and we hear three sorts of breathing, each in different rhythms, in a small room that extends toward the infinite, with a bluish light shining above the door. L'chadodi, page 23. L'chadodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela. Shamur v'zachor b'dibor echad hishmianu. Elam yuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem otiferet v'litila. L'chadodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'necha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshava techila. Lecha dodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech Melucha hakumitzei mitocha hapecha harav lach shevet behemek abacha behu yachamol alayichem la. Lecha dodi likra kahala pene Shabbat. Page 24. Hitna ari meyafarku mihi livshi bigde tivartecha mihi ayad ben yishai beit halach mikorva el nafshi ge'ala. Lecha dodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri kira ore kumi ori uri shir da beheri kavod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela. Lo tevoshi velo tikami matishtochachi umahatemi bach yechesu aniye ahami v'nivneta ir altila. Lecha dodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela. V'hayu limshisa shosa yiferaku kol miralahi chasisalahi Elohahi kimsos chatan ahakahala. Lecha dodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela. Yamin usmol tifrot ziviet Adonai taritzi ayad ish ben parsi v'nismecha v'nagila. Lecha dodi likra kahala pene Shabbat. Let's welcome the spirit of Shabbat. Boi v'shalom atere ba'ala gam besimcha uvetzala toch emunei aham segula. Boi kala lecha dodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela. Shabbat shalom. Page 27 for the Shabbat psalm. Mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat. Mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon lahagid baboker chastecha v'emunatcha balelot. Mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat. Mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat. We continue silently through the psalm. Tzadika tamar yifrach ke'erez balvanon yiskel shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrihu. Odienun v'seva Deshenim v'ra'ananim Yihu lehagi Yashar Adonai Tzuri Tzuri V'lo havlantam. May those planted in the courts of our God be raised with the nourishment of amazing values that sustain them in strength and resilience through a lifetime. And may those of us who have grown older, may we still become fresh and fragrant in new growth in our connection to God and to that which has nourished us through our lives. I'm going to share a prayer that I did not write, a prayer of thanksgiving. It comes from the Siddur V'taher Libenu. Thank you, God of eternity, for the great wonder of your creation, for the earth, the stars, the sun and the moon, and the beauty of your universe, with which in your great kindness you have blessed us. Thank you for granting us life in all its richness, for its brilliant moments of joy, which allow us to soar as the birds, and even for its anguish and pain, which somehow seem to precipitate growth and change. For all these things, God, we are grateful. But thank you especially, God, in your abundant love for having chosen to make us human beings, blessed among the fruits of your creation with a mind to reason and a mind to seek truth and justice, with a soul which can feel pain and ecstasy and compassion, and has the freedom to choose life and goodness over cruelty and destruction, and with a heart that can love and care and reach out to touch the hearts of our brothers and sisters as together we walk through the years of our lives. The first of our two Mourners' Kaddises can be found on page 30. For those who are reciting the Mourners' Kaddish tonight, I'm going to ask you to rise in a moment after I read our Yortzites for the night. Beth Israel congregation, before I read the Yortzites, which are not in my list, we continue to remember, among others, I keep two copies. I greatly believe in built-in redundancy. Beth Israel congregation remembers, among others, Susan Demirsky Allen, Esther Armstrong, Ivan Ball, Max Bardenstein, Eli Botkin, Lillian Brown, Sipora Berdanek, Goldie Cohen, Samuel Copy, Vincent Lewis Dallas, Milton Elford, Deborah Friedman, Abraham Friedman, Bernard Garber, Jenny Naomi Gluckman, Abe Goldman, Bessie Gruskin, Mary Leby Harari, Gidon Hofer, Sandra Roth Horowitz, Lois Kluger, Evelyn Lieberman, Benjamin Lusky, Ada Margolis, Burton Miller, Rose Muchnick, Hugo Newhouse, Abraham Pear, Marvin Rosenzweig, Jacob Schwartz, Rachel Starkman, Rachel Tsiona Feldman-Urist, Carolyn Watson, Mandel Willer, Dorothy Zaretsky Ruth. As we continue to say Kaddish for Shulamit Weitzman, Robert Haftel, Ellen Monto, Richard Burke, Eva Kalani, Susan Chapnick, Phyllis Horowitz, Bill Liberson, and Tamar Weaver, Rita Stuhl, Harvey Aaron Scher, Bennett Stark, Dottie Berman, Martha Olenek, Bonnie Weinstein, Sheldon Berry, Naomi Metter, Shoshana Buckwalter, Sybil Mintz, Jeffrey Aronson, Mimi Sunshine Karish, Andrea Lynn Meislish, Evelyn Bakken, Sylvia Gordon, Carl Cohen, Isidore Fisher, Christine Reed, Harriet Celine, Frederick Reingold, Kevin Schiff, and Seymour Konigsberg. And tonight, especially, we invite in the memory and the spirit of Jonathan's grandfather, Dr. John Brensicki. For those who are reciting the Kaddish tonight, please rise with me and recite on page 20. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kari v'imru, Yehe shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almayam. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudesha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehe shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha. May their memories continue to bring blessings to this world. Will everyone please rise on page 39 for the beginning of the Arvit service? Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. You may be seated as we continue silently. Baruch Adonai hamevorach asher bivaro marivat avihim. Umavir yom umevi laila, mavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamidim lo chalenu leolam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai, hama'arihi v'haravim. We prepare for the Shema on page 40. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, v'shachveinu v'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, Uvemitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu v'orech yameinu, v'orech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla. V'avatcha tasim el olamim, baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 41. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'odecha, V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech Uveshachbecha, uvekumecha, upshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayulatot afot, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. We continue 42 and forward silently until 44. Umalchuto beratzon kiblu alehem Moshe Miriam v'nei Yisrael lechanusha b'simcha haraba v'yamru chulaham mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar bakodesh Noradi loto sefele Malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokei yam lifnei Moshe ze'eli anu v'yameru Adonai yimlo ve'olam va'ed v'ne'emar kifada Adonai Yaakov golem chazak mimenu baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Let's read together in English, Tashkivenu on 45. Let a protective shield be spread over Israel to protect all of the innocent underneath from attack and persecution. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us, remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, and starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. For you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. 46 for Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam, be'eni uven b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz, Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinavash. It's my honor before we head into our silent prayers of the Amidah, which to call up Chuck and Romana at this time to share a word for Jonathan. And would you like me to call up Jonathan as well, or would you like to speak to him from here? It's up to you.
Jonathan, we want you to know we have given this a great deal of thought. And Yaya and I are deeply divided.
We have a deep disagreement about when you play football for Michigan, which position you should play.
One of us thinks that you should be a running back. You have the intelligence and the drive to take the handoff safely, to follow the plan and plunge into the line over and over and over again, just like Blake Corum cleverly to find the openings, and after being tackled, to still keep going for another 3 or 4 yards.
And one of us thinks that you should be a tight end. You have the flair to run the long, complicated patterns, and you have the smarts to adjust to opportunities. For instance, last Saturday night, while watching the game with Michigan State, when Roman Wilson moved from the left side of the end zone to the right side of the end zone, Nana turned to me and said, "That is exactly what Jonathan would have done."
Well, The two of us have not yet decided what you should do.
But when we do decide, we'll let you know.
Mazal tov.
Well, at least I can start what we're doing right now, which is grab your seaboard for the Hatzikah. Please rise, and after the Chatzi Kaddish, we'll head directly into the Salen Amidah. We're at the bottom, we're in the middle of page 46.
Yikada, v'yikada, shemei rabba. Ve'amad yivarak yirtei, ve'amlich malchutei, v'cha yechon uv'yom echon, u'chayed lechol beit Yisrael. Ba'al kala Yisrael. Ve'imru. Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpar, v'yitramam, v'yinaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, shmei dekudesha, le'ela, min kol berchata v'shirata, tishbechata, v'nefamata, da'am, ve'imru.
Those still davening, please continue as the rest of us begin the repetition, the symbolic repetition on page 53. Please rise. Vayechulo hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam vayechal Elohim vayom hashvi'i Melachto asher asa vayishpot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayekadesh oto kivo Shabbat mikol melachto Kivo Shabbat Mikom Melachto Asher Bara Elohim asher bara, Elohim raso. We may be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotzeinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Konei Shamayim v'Aaretz, Magen Avot Bidvaro, Mechaye Metim b'Mamaro, Ha'el HaKadosh she'ein kamohu, Hameniach le'amo, Yom Shabbat kodsho, Kivam ratza lehaniach lahem, Kivam ratza lehaniach lahem, Lefanav na'avod b'yirah v'pachad, V'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid, Me'on habrachot. El ha'oda'ot Adon ha'shalom, Mekadesh ha'shabbat u'mvarech shvi'i, U'meniach b'kedusha Le'amdu shnei oneg, Zecher Lema'aseh v'reishim. 54. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu ritzeh b'mnuchatenu, Hadshenu b'mitzvotecha, v'tein chelkenu b'toratecha, Sabeinu mituvecha, v'samchenu b'shuatecha, v'taher libeinu, li'avdecha be'emet, v'hanchilenu, Adonai Eloheinu, b'ahava uvratzon, Shabbat kodshecha, v'yanuchu v'Yisrael, mikadeshei shemecha, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. Yikadav yikadash shemei rabal, v'yamad yirakirtei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechonu v'yamechonu v'chayedecho beit Yisrael, b'agalav izman kari v'imeru, yeheshmera b'mevara, yalam ulam ve'amaya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yinaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalash medukudesha, Le'ela min kol berchata b'shirata, tishpata v'nechemata, damiram v'yama v'imeru, Titgabat loton about Hondacho Yisrael, Kodama Bahondi Vishmaya v'imeru, Yehesham Araba min Shemai v'chaim alein v'ko Yisrael v'imeru, Oseh Shalom b'mromav, Uyaseh Shalom aleinu v'ko Yisrael v'imeru. We rise for Aleinu, page 56. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, Latek Kiruna Leotzereshi, Shelo Asanu Kigoye Haratzot, Velo Samanu Kimishpachot Adam, Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem, Vegor Aleinu Kechol Amonu, V'anachnu Korim, Umishtachavim Modim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Noteh Shamayim v'Yosed Haaretz, U'moshav Yekaro b'Shamayim Imaha, Ushchinatu Zo, Begavei Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Eino, Emet Malkeinu Epesulato, Hey, no, 57. Now, can you come up? Kakatu b'toratech, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'em Adonai, le'melech al kol ha'aretz, v'yom ha'hu, v'yom ha'hu, Yeh Adonai, U'shema, U'shema, We may be seated except for those who are reciting the Mourner's Kaddish on this night. You're joining me on page 58. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael v'agala u'vizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei maya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitala Shmei d'Kudisha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imru Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabbah min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Oseh Shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh Shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. May their memories continue to bring blessings to this globe. A couple of announcements. I know there's so many family here. I'm not going to give you announcements for things that are happening in 3 weeks, but for those who are streaming the service tonight and will be back in several weeks, I want to really highlight one announcement in particular, because it's an opportunity with so much that's been going on, including cultural performances here at the synagogue, that we have the Trio Cantilena next Saturday night. And this is a fairly unique opportunity where the Jewish Community Center of Greater Ann Arbor, and in partnership with Michigan State University's College of Music, is presenting a trio of Guy Yehuda on clarinet and Daniel Akiva on guitar, and Ronit Widman-Levy on vocals, for an evening of beautiful Sephardic Jewish classical music. And Guy is coming, I believe, Guy is coming all the way from Israel for it. And it's going to be held here in the sanctuary of Beth Israel next Saturday night. And so it's not often that we get an opportunity to hear this spectrum of Jewish music, this kind of diversity within our tradition, and this kind of special beauty, things that may be unfamiliar to us, but when we hear them, we find beautiful. In addition, for those who are coming, I'll see you I'm moving backwards from last week toward coming now. On Sunday, we'll have the back-to-back memorial gatherings for the Carbeck family and for the Reingold family. And so for those who are here on Sunday, I'll see you there. And then coming all the way back to tomorrow morning, we're very much looking forward to the bar mitzvah of Jonathan Primus and to celebrating it both during the service and following the service for a beautiful lunch. So I hope that everyone is entering into the weekend in spirit of love and family and of connection and of hope. We finish the service with Yigdal on page 62. Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yishtarava nimsa b'tziyuto echad v'yachid v'yivodo ne'echa v'gamein sohor v'yaduto eino tmutaku v'eino Lona Rochai Kedushato Mon Chodava Asher Nivra Rishon de'en reshit bereshito. Hino Adon olam v'chol ha'osam. Malchuto shepal negulato netano elam shesegulato v'tivarto lo v'Yisrael k'lo she'o navi mahavi etmunato Torah benatan li'amohem Arabi them on beto lo yavi ma'el lo yavi nato lo yavi zumato so feliu setareinu mabi the softa mato go and the each and me no taint Rasha Vishla the gates me Meshichu Lirko Efake Sishu Meti Nehaya Berohas Barum de Shady Battle Meti Nehaya Berohas Shabbat shalom.